Hello everyone, how are you guys all doing today? Welcome to RPG Labs, my name is Dutchy and let's get into the video. Alright, so today's video is going to be all about a PvP build that I found that is extremely overpowered, but it's actually also really good in PvE. Now this build I call the Snow Spartan, you will see later why, but yeah, this build basically makes you completely invincible to any physical attacks. So any weapon in the game that's not magical, you will not be able to take any damage from it. Oh, and even the Dragon Breath spells, you will be able to counter that with this build as well. You will also be able to perform extra damage on your enemies because of a certain little thing I put on my weapon. Oh, and I also got a little one-shot build for you and also a cool little shield that can one-shot people as well. Alright, let's go! If you do like this video, by the way, go check out some of our other stuff. There's plenty of builds and things that we have discovered in the game, so, well, yeah, go check it out. Alright, so for this build, I started off with a Vagabond. I have put 30 into Vigor, 40 into Endurance, 40 into Strength, and 40 into Dexterity. Now, I'm also going to be popping some things into Intelligence, just because it also scales with the weapon I'm actually using. Now, I'm only going to level up to 120, just because I feel like the community might be around that level for PvPs. But at the current moment, it doesn't really matter what level you are, there's a lot of PvP in every level. Now you can see I'm also mainly focusing on a quality style build. Okay, so what I will be using is a Godskin Stitcher as my main weapon. Now I'm also going to apply a cold effect on it, so I can do more damage to my enemies after I've hit them a few times. As you can see on the enemy I'm fighting right now, he actually has a little bit of ice around him, meaning that he takes more damage from my abilities. I will also be using the Bloodhound Stab with this, so I can zoom into my enemies as fast as possible and avoid attacks if needed. Now, one of the best things about this weapon is how fast it actually is. It can jab enemies a lot faster than most people can swing up their weapon. As you can see over here, it takes him quite a while to swing with the weapon, but I can just keep hitting him. Now the Frost status effect is pretty easy to apply. I usually just need to hit people around about twice to 3 times to apply the effect. Now this also applies for most of the enemies in the game that aren't really bosses or anything like that. Now the Frost damage actually kind of works a little bit like the bleed. So you build it up and at one point they will get frozen. But this doesn't mean they slow down too much or anything like that, it's more that they take enhanced damage from most of your abilities. Now the first time you do actually apply Frost to them, they will take a bit of damage, just like the bleed ability. It's not as much as the bleed ability, but it's still a decent chunk for you to be able to easily finish them off. Now a lot of people have a bit of trouble with fighting Dragon Breath. Now Dragon Breath is actually pretty easily counterable, you just need to make sure that you hit them as they're doing it. But you can always avoid it if you need to, like what I did just over here, and then I needed to heal up. Now you do need Bloodhound Step for this, because trying to roll out of the way of it is just not feasible, you will die. Oh, and some of you might be wondering why I wasn't dead over there. It's actually because I rolled just in time and it counteracts the blood loss effect. It still stuns you for a split second, but at least it won't do any damage to you. And for anybody who wants to know where to get this weapon, it's in the Volcano Manor, you just have to defeat the Godskin there. Alright, now we get to the shield. Now, for this shield, I'm actually using the Golden Great Shield. Now, you can actually use any sort of great style shield, but I prefer this one just because of the look mainly. But just make sure it has 100 physical protection, because this is going well with the Asher War that we're using, which is Barricade Shield. Barricade Shield basically allows you to block all incoming damage without losing any stamina. This is still effective on medium shields, but on medium shields you will still lose a little bit of stamina, so I recommend going for a great shield. Now the Asher War you can get right here. You can also get the Bloodhound Fang from this location. You just have to defeat the boss, and well, easy. This boss really isn't hard, just rush him. I'm quickly going to show you a clip of 2 backstabs. One is without the frost damage, and the second one is with frost damage. Just want to thank Gushi for being my test subject, by the way. Thank you, Gushi. But yeah, as you can see over here, it's 581 damage, and now it is 697 damage. That is around about a 17-ish% increase. Now imagine going into a fight and always doing 17% extra damage. That is absolutely insane, with no matter what weapon you're actually using. So you don't actually have to use this weapon in particular, but Frost is something you definitely need to look into. I see a lot of people overlooking it. Now I'm also going to quickly tell you the armor set I'm wearing, which is the Royal Remains for the head. the Exiled armor for the torso. And just to add a little bit of poise to my character, I put the Fire Prelate gauntlets on and also the Fire Prelate pants. Now, personally, I would just go with whatever you like. Poise is probably the most important thing with armor, but hey, I like fashion souls, so I tried to really build something around my own style. For those of you guys who don't know what poise really is, poise is basically how much you will flinch if somebody hits you. So let's say somebody hits you with a bunch of light attacks. If you have a high enough poise, you will actually be able to hit them while they're attacking you. If you have a low poise, they will hit you and you will basically be stun locked. Alright, now we come to my little one-shot build. Now, my one-shot build is basically all about the Bloodhound Fang. The Bloodhound Fang is extremely powerful when you actually get your weapon art off. Now, as you can see over here, I basically one-shot him. And this has been throughout the entire game. Whenever someone's invaded me, or whenever I needed to help someone out, I was able to one-shot the enemy, and I just kept on going. Now, I will say this, probably if someone has a high enough vigor, or a high enough armor rating, you might not be able to one-shot them, but this works 90% of the time for me. It hasn't failed me hardly. Now, in order for you to keep one-shotting with this weapon, by the way, just make sure you keep upgrading it with smithing stones, and also make sure that you are leveling up your dexterity and your strength, because this weapon scales technically with both of them. The scaling of it is not the greatest, but it still helps quite a bit. Now, I've actually already covered this on a previous video, so I go into depth a little bit more about the exact things I'm using with this, so go check it out if you can. Now we come to that shield I've been talking about. This shield is very, very overpowered. It is beautiful and it can one-shot a lot of targets, as you can see over there, doing 1203 damage. Absolutely crazy. Now, in the middle of a fight, this can be useful, but only if you quickly surprise someone by pulling it out and just quickly popping it off. Now, after you shoot, you are actually a little bit vulnerable, so as soon as you're ready again, start rolling out of the way, so they can't hit you. Unless you already killed them, in which case, you're good. Oh, and it's also very effective against large bosses, as you can see over here. It does a chunk of damage, meaning that you can stay at a safe distance and fire away. Just make sure that the boss doesn't have any projectiles that can instantly delete you, because that's kind of what happened to me in this clip right here. I mean, we technically tried it, he died, but I died too. Alright, hopefully this PvP build will be useful to you. If you got your own little PvP build, let me know in the comments, because I really want to figure out a couple more builds so I can make some more videos on it. I'll definitely give you guys a shout out if I find one in the comments that I really like. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed everything, and have a good one, eh? Bye!